Welcome to our apartment. We're here. We like Wandavision
Scare us.
and scare us. We want to talk about what everybody's been talking about recently, that being Wandavision. What's that?
Wandavision.
Oh, Wandavision.
Westview, Wandavision.
Westview television. No, that doesn't work. No, it's Wandavision ended on Friday. It is now Tuesday when I'm recording this video. It'll probably come out this weekend, so you've had plenty of time to watch it. Yeah. We're not going to spoil it heavily, but I can't promise we won't spoil anything. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. And I want to stress right away, watch it and go into it with an open mind. In fact, I think this show is almost better if you start viewing it as if it really is an old sitcom about a witch and a robot that move into a town. Actually, the whole time I was watching it, I was thinking this would have been a great prank to pull on somebody like my mom. Hey, there's this old show. Do you remember it? Just see how quickly she gets the Twilight Zone vibes and what's coming out of the show, because the first thing I want to say is that those first episodes are really what made me fall in love with WandaVision, the show. I think that helped the show declare its personality, and I knew right off the bat it would be something that was more divisive when you saw people who already didn't get it.
You have to go into it, I guess, with the understanding that this is not meant to be taken seriously. They're not meant to be actual sitcom episodes.
Something that I admire about the show is that it doesn't explain to you right off the bat. In fact, it never feels the need to slow down and spoon feed you.
And it's taking these two characters that were completely underdeveloped in the movies and giving you a shot to actually get to know who they are.
They've always been the weakest parts of the movies that they've been in my opinion. And now we finally get to see Elizabeth Olsen in particular shine, but also Paul Bettany does a really great job. And those first couple episodes are so key to declaring the identity of this show, because right off the bat, it doesn't say, oh, here's how Wanda got into a sitcom. It says, Wanda and Vision are the stars of this sitcom, watch it or don't. For the people that dropped off very early in the show, I gotta say, I don't understand your thought process. But a lot of like, oh, well, this better be going somewhere. And it's like, how could you have watched 22 Marvel movies at this point and not have thought that this was going somewhere?
How could it not be going somewhere?
This, you actually get to see them be a regular couple. And I really enjoyed that in the show.
I liked them from the first scene that they were on television in. I thought that they were very captivating.
You know, the third episode's obviously great, and then they gave you the hook at the end of that for all those that were not invested. And I feel like after that, it became the most discussed show in the world. You know, I'll be the one to say it, I guess, but everybody's been saying it at this point. If you had a theory, that's not fact. And if you were watching this show and it did everything that you had theorized, it would be very boring.
You also have to think to yourself, your theory is not an original thought. Your theory is based off of comics. Your theory is based off of lore. Your theory is based off of things that you've seen happen in the past. We looked at the previews for Falcon and Winter Soldier, and it's just a totally different vibe. WandaVision was just so special. I just think because it didn't end the way that the fans theorized it to end, doesn't take away from all the great things that it did and all the reasons that people loved it along the way. And I really don't think that the ending was bad at all. I actually really enjoyed it. I don't really see the problems with it. And I think that I'll kind of die on this. I'm going to die on this hill.
But this show had so much soul behind it and personality. And it was a mystery, which we've never got in the superhero world, really. Because when Marvel said we want to jump into TV, I was skeptical, and I said it on the podcast too. But to do a mystery show off the bat, that's enough reason alone to do a TV show.
And the other thing is, not only was the show really captivating, but Elizabeth Olsen was incredible. I mean, absolutely incredible. Her acting in this show was eons better than A, what they had her doing in the Avengers movies, and B, her acting was better than most of the Avengers in their own movies. And I have such a huge girl crush on her.
Oh my god, she's a snack and
Yeah,
a half.
she was just...
And what you bring up is the show is called WandaVision, and we're about to talk about some of the crazier fan theories. And yes, it's fun to think these things, but you have to remember this show had the agenda of it's a story about grief that uses comic book superheroes to tell that story to people that normally wouldn't watch a movie like that. That's not a slight on who watches those movies, because I'm a fan of comic book movies. I have to say it has so much more personality than almost any of the other superhero stuff that I've seen. It's just a special experience that I'm going to remember forever, and for that reason, I'm going to give WandaVision an A+.
And we watched every episode at least 3 times. So it's not like we watched it once through and, forgot about what was happening in the beginning and, blah, blah, blah. We did our homework. We watched shows about the show. We listened to podcasts about the show. We were in forums. We were on meme pages. We were in groups, we were in it. We were in the thick of it, especially Oliver. I think it's fitting, and I think that it's fair.
And the level of emotional closure that they gave us for all of the characters, I think it speaks for itself, because while they sacrifice some things like a bigger battle or a big reveal, the reason they do that is because they want you to feel for Wanda and Vision and not be distracted by Doctor Strange is here now.
Or the X-Men being introduced into the MCU,
There was a lot of talk of Mephisto. There was a lot of talk that Reed Richards was going to appear. And I think people got it in their head that they were promised these things. Yeah. And the show never said that. And I know about the aerospace engineer, but...
And I know about the devil is in the details. That's not the only place he is. Trust me. We know. We theorize these things, too.
Just because the show said things that you interpreted one way doesn't mean that that's how they were meant. And each thing can be explained the way the finale wants you to interpret it. And I want to come out here and say, just because your theory or what you wanted to happen didn't happen, that doesn't mean the show had loose ends. The show actually explains away everything that needs to be explained. And when people say things like, oh, but what about the rabbit? It is possible that he was just a rabbit. One of the things about the internet is that we get into this zone where we speculate about different things that don't actually mean anything. And then in our head, if it isn't exactly what we wanted, we feel that it's bad. And I think that that's not the right way to engage in entertainment, because you're setting yourself up for failure, and it's an unfair expectation on the artist.
This show is on Disney+. They're not going to throw, all these really oddball curveballs that even the, biggest hyper fans wouldn't have been able to see. You know what I'm saying? It needs to be a little more on the nose.
And on top of that, I think the things that happen are natural. Yeah. The multiverse opening up and the X-Men coming out, not only I feel would have been a bad idea, and for those of you who keep asking for it, a lot of you are the people that don't like those movies. It would have been underwhelming to put it in a TV show, and to have it in this show wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah, no, it would not have made sense. Do you not understand? Let's just talk about theme and cinema for a second here. There's such things as red herrings. Whenever you're watching a mystery, Murder, She Wrote, or whatever you want to call it, it's never the nosy neighbor that you think that, oh, well, that was a bad call. But it's never
it's never the smoking gun.
The smoking gun, exactly. It's never the person that you're saying the whole time, it's gotta be them, it's gotta be them, it's gotta be them. It's not. Why are you gonna be mad when they threw you off? Are you mad because you were wrong? I think that's what it is. You're mad because you didn't write it?
If the camp of people that are upset that Evan Peters didn't get to do anything at the end, I'm in that group. I've come around on it. I don't think making him Ralph was a bad move. I thought that was actually an inspired pick for the story they were telling. And one of the things Marvel does is fourth wall breaks and nudge, nudge, wink, wink. And that's part of why it's fun. And if he was just Evan Peters from the Fox X-Men, I think that that's the most boring conclusion you can come to, because it means we won't get X-Men the way that Marvel's going to come up with them. We're going to get something that we've been seeing since the year 2000.
Right, and you guys didn't like the X-Men movies, so why would you
like those movies?
But like, why would you want to continue something that clearly really didn't work all that well?
That fell apart at the end.
Yeah.
And, you know, the other thing is just having Evan Peters there is not a promise, because Evan Peters in real life is an actor who wants to work.
If you liked it all along the way and then had such a major issue with the ending because it didn't meet the expectations that you set on your own, then that's not the show's fault.
I would also say that when you look at the core elements of how to tell a good story, the most important one is how you treat your characters. You have to treat them like they're people that you love and respect, because your audience loves them. You know, if you've written something that's good. And
that was the biggest issue with Game of Thrones.
Yes. When you got into Game of Thrones at the end, it was clear that they didn't care anymore. And the things they were doing were to service their story, and they weren't servicing the people that you had come to love throughout the journey that you were on with them.
When do you want to start talking about Game of Thrones? Because because I keep trying to.
Well, and the main point I want to make about Game of Thrones is that it's not like a Game of Thrones ending, because I know that everybody was upset over that, and a lot of that was because of theories, but a lot of that was because of the quality of the show.
The problem with it's not that the theories didn't pan out and that's why people were upset like this one. It's because the show had set up so many different things. And I'm talking about like
True loose ends.
Yeah, true loose ends. Not like, oh, this could be this or this could be this or this could be this. No, like the show was going in one direction and then it just fell off. And I don't know what happened. They totally forgot what they were doing in the first couple, like from the first few seasons. I think they just took the easy route just to complete the story at the end and really did a disservice to the entire franchise. And that is warranted. The Game of Thrones disappointment is 100% warranted. Not to mention that show was also hour-long episodes with 6 seasons. This was one 8-episode. They were only like a half an hour long each, you know, kind of mini series. And it didn't promise you anything. There were no expectations going into it.
WandaVision is the opposite. When you look at the end of WandaVision, every decision is made so that Wanda and Vision at the end of the show can get their moment to say goodbye to each other. Yeah. And we can feel how invested we've become with these characters in this story and how sad we are that it has to end. And I don't think that I would have traded that to get some fan service. I agree. Anyway, those are my thoughts on WandaVision. Hey, if you want to hear more stuff from us, we do a podcast every week called God Damn It Hello, except not every week anymore. We also produce a lot of content here on this channel, both our thoughts and some artistic endeavors as well. So subscribe and give us a like. And
just send us some money and we'll keep making stuff.
Oh my God, send us some money.
Yeah.
Please.